Yes, Dylan, your 15 minutes are different than ours. That's absolutely correct. We have
My
a
dog
dog, Mr. Apollo, that needed some
poop
loving
time.
there.
He needs some poop time.
That's right. And but we are back. We hope everyone has got themselves entered in the giveaway because guys, that giveaway is for you. Yeah, we're doing it, but we're doing it for you guys because we happen to, for some weird reason, have the ability to talk to these companies and they are willing to put stuff out there for you guys. And as far as Stazza and I are concerned, that's super cool. We
Oh yeah.
get to hand stuff off to you guys and all that fun stuff. So we're going to start a regular late knife with Nick and Stazza. How are you doing tonight, Stazza?
Oh, I'd say 2 for 2. Good. Glad the giveaway went off without a hitch so far, and I'm just glad it's live. Long time in the waiting.
No kidding. I haven't done anything all week as far as videos go. Kind of got off track. Was going to record one the other day, and it has now become kind of the topic for this evening, or one of our first topics. And that is tactical box cutters. You can see my desk there, and there's Nick's desk with all these tactical knives. And here's what came up. We'll go back to my desk for a minute. Here's what came up. I was about to do another video on tactical style knives with a whole different topic, and I had a whole bunch of Amazon boxes to cut up. So I I looked at the boxes and I picked up this SNG or SMF, excuse me, because I knew it was thin behind the edge. This thing is less than 20 thousandths. And I started to cut up the boxes. And I thought, that big old SMF is doing one whale of a good job cutting up those boxes. So I had the rest of them all kind of lined up there. So instead of just using the SMF, I made a few strokes with each and every one of these knives. And here's what I found out. This knife cuts well. Every knife on this table does a very good job with the boxes. Even these two. However, there are some differences. This knife is about 34 thousandths behind the edge. This is an older SMF with a hall grind. This one is 20 thousandths behind the edge, but it's got a fairly low grind with your Praetorian. And it got me to thinking. And then Stazza and I talked about it a little bit. We are changing the tactical, not we. There are individuals in our community that are changing the tactical knife that we knew and changing it into something else. And this is an older Strider. I'm not sure what year it's from, but 34 thousandths behind the edge. And that makes a knife that I can pretty much hand to anybody, even people that have no idea what they're doing with it. And they can cut stuff or whatever they need to do and not really mess my knife up too badly. I go to this one at less than 20 thousandths behind the edge, and this thing's something crazy. It's like 15 thousandths or something behind the edge. And now I've got to worry about some of the yahoos that I'm around trying to use it as a pry bar or whack things with it or something, and actually taking a huge chunk out of the blade because it's so thin down there. I don't know. Stazza, what do you think about that?
Yeah, especially if, like, for instance, my SNG right here, I got one of the older ones too with the 34 thousandths behind the edge. And, if they're designed for a purpose and that purpose is to be able to be an all around hard use knife, and like I said, they do it right, then I don't know. The thing I see in it is, even though I don't really have a use for the harder use knives anymore, there's a lot of people who do, and it just shows the power of some people's influence that is not always for the best.
Well, and yeah, and that's kind of what I was poking around out there. And I'm just as guilty as any other reviewer. I'm always generally looking for performance out of a knife. I'll kind of fuss around about a Hinderer that's 30 or 40 thousandths behind the edge. And I don't know that I should be. Now, if it's a slicer, I think I should be. I think I should be throwing Rick under the bus if it's 30 or 40 thousandths behind the edge on the slicer grind. But if we're talking about this sheep's foot or MP1 style grind, I think that being 30 thousandths is probably okay, or the Sponto grind or the spear point. And some of these other knives, like the Striders, I think it's fine, but I don't care for the idea that the makers are getting pushed by loudmouths and people that like to talk a lot into making knives that aren't for their intended purpose anymore. Is that what you're feeling?
Yeah, and I think another aspect, and kind of like you just kind of touched it on, the different styles of Striders. I mean, Hinderers. I don't see a problem if they have two different styles in that, like say the S&G, normal, and then the S&G fatty, and if they're, one's geared to that thick tactical, but it's almost misleading, if you didn't know that before, because like until you got that new Strider, I had no clue that they were that thin behind the edge now, and I mean it wouldn't have mattered to me, but to somebody who's, going to guess like, you go to buy a knife that, has been a flat grind. Like I said, Chris Tanner from Prepared Mind 101 made that fixed blade that was a flat grind, and that was his intended role to be, have that extra strength. And the company changed it to a thin hollow grind, and it was taking chunks out of the blade. It's basically, if you're swaying the market, those certain people swaying the market in this realm, they can do it for anything.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. I'm not saying that Strider or anybody should go back to really thick grinds, but what scares me is this is 90,000 stock on this knife, on this SMF. It's so 90,000. That's not right. 190.
Yeah, I was about to say
stock on this SMF. So that's nearly what, 5 millimeters or something. I'd have to do the math on that.
Yeah,
Slicey, you can do that for us. You're good at those things. And whenever you get a knife that thick, and
no slicey,
and it's flat ground, I kind of expect it to be around around the the 30 thousandths or so, 25, 30 thousandths, and be a little tougher. Now, one of the things that really interests me is, unless you go way back with Medford, he has these really short grinds, but he is always right at about 20 thousandths behind the edge on the main grind down here.
Yeah.
A little thicker up here, but always right about 20 thousandths. So he's got his own way of doing things. And anyhow, that's just something that kind of, I know it's kind of hard to think about it, but it kind of bugs me. If I've got a knife that is, well, take our Roxy 4, for instance. That's a really high flat grind. It better be fairly thin behind the edge, right around 20 thousandths or so.
Yeah.
And it is. In fact, out of all of my tactical box cutting, this was probably the best cutter out of the whole mess. Because, well, it's designed for it.
Yeah.
The second best was probably Leong's 140 thousandths thick, but super thin eraser. And the worst was this guy right here. However, if you could talk to Goody, this thing was designed to be a hammer. I mean, there are a lot of things about this knife that are designed to be tough, and he designed it for that reason. And he knows that it's somewhat thick behind the edge on purpose. So, I don't know. It's just something that was kind of bugging me, and wanted to bring it up and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know. What's some of y'all opinions? I mean, Dylan, you're designing some knives. I mean, do you have any feelings on that? I mean, and it doesn't have to be, like I said before, it doesn't have to be just about that. It can be pretty much anything in the industry. Just and that's one thing I try to, like. For instance, I just uploaded my video on the We Knife sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I prefaced that video saying that I was reviewing a tactical like a tactical design knife in an EDC roll. So, it's not going to fit a lot of my EDC task, but that's not what that knife's intended for.
Yeah. To
It
say
could
something
be.
to
Go
say
ahead.
something about the sticks, though, that was one of them. The one you have now was on the desk whenever I was doing my tactical box cutting, and the sticks actually cuts extremely well. That's a pretty high
Oh,
performance knife.
yeah, 18,000 behind the edge.
Uh,
I just meant
it's
as far as tactical, as far as your grips and the style of knife, like fighting style.
Yeah, it's I agree with you, and I don't want to go too deep into that. I just wanted to kind of get some opinion, especially if you guys have got opinions out there about that. Whenever I see the blade stock thickness get down under 4 millimeter or 156 thousandths, I start to expect thinner grinds, much thinner grinds, and also depends on the blade height. If I've got a knife like our Roxy 4 that's got the super tall grind, I kind of expect that to be thin behind the edge or around 20 thousandths. Now, if I get something like, say, this Storm, and you can see from the bevel there at somewhere around 17 or 18 thousandths, it's kind of thick behind the edge, but because of the way they did the blade finish, it still cuts extremely well. But I expect them to be thicker whenever you get up to that 4 millimeters or so. And whenever you get down to 140, like Leong's knife here, yeah, that's okay to get, or that's, what am I saying? I've got too many things going on here. It better get thinner as well as the blade stock. Kind of
Yeah,
like we did with their 120 and 30 thousandths thick knives, the smaller ones. All of those are super thin, and they should be because they're smaller knives with thinner blade stock.
yeah. I appreciate that, Brian. Um, and another thing that and just like you said, whatever, different strokes for different folks. Now I lost my train of thought. I think another thing that can be deceiving, and I watched a video on Vinny's channel, Nero Knives, and he did a good video on that, and something that I think he kind of brought up, that some people won't buy a knife because they see the blade stock thickness at 4 millimeters or 5 millimeters, but because they're assuming, which usually the case is, if you're going to have a thick stout blade like that, it's usually going to be decently thick behind the edge. But in the case of the Microtech SOCOM Elite, you have a 4.5 millimeter blade stock, and it comes down to about 19 thousandths behind the edge. So I don't know that I don't really understand the trying to go both ways on that. I think that bugs me more than anything. Like like it's kind of like, I mean, I'm just gonna pick on the Medford for a second. It's kind of like this Medford. You got this super stout blade thickness here and a hollow grind that comes down to 20 thousandths behind the edge. That's something that just kind of, I don't know, boggles me. I don't know how y'all feel about that.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, Dylan, you're right. At about 25, anything over 20 thousandths, you're getting to a stiffer blade. And all right, we're gonna drop this topic here in just a minute. I'm gonna say something. We'll let Stazza close it up, and then we'll move on. But because we're gonna run this one into the ground.
Yeah.
But anything above about 20 thousandths, you're getting to a healthier edge that's going to stay together better, especially with the new super steels. Like these, I believe, are in 20 CV.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's going to stay together better, a lot better than if they had done that with S30V. And that may be part of it. Why it may not be as much the people using their influence as the newer steels being able to do this much better. But yeah, whenever you're hard using a knife and you get it down really thin, it makes me wonder. Like, well, here we go. We'll use this guy. I'm not going to pull out this Black Star and try to start cutting really thick straps or anything with it. One, it's a slip joint. Two, it's really, really thin behind the edge, and I don't want to break the edge and have to, fix it. So, anyhow, Stazza, you want to close that one up, and then I've got some new knives we want to look at, and I don't know what you've got over there.
Yeah, I want to know real quick, Zel. You got anything coming in? I'm good with that topic too. Like I said, it's. I guess it really just balls down. And I want y'all. We're not like talking about anybody in particular. We're just saying that like people have influence, and just you got to kind of think about what you say before you're trying to influence a crowd in your direction for your, the way you use knives.
Yeah, just like Nick and I, we have a small modicum of influence, and Slicey has another small modicum of influence, and we've got to be careful with that so that we don't push the industry in places that it shouldn't be pushed.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, what were you saying, Stazza?
About?
Oh, I don't know. That's why I asked.
Yeah. I basically, as I said, I think we that was just a little subtopic we wanted to talk about. Oh, what do you have new? I got, I don't know how you got that Black Star so quick, but I got one of those coming in. I'm kind of excited about it, but it looks way smaller than I expected. I know I read the specs. I know it's going to be cutting it close I'll probably get a 3.5 finger grip on it, but I still love the look of it. And I also pulled the trigger on the new Giant Mouse Ace Iona, just because it looks like a upgraded Delica for me. So that's how I'm going to see that knife.
Okay, that's cool. Well, we'll switch back to mine. We'll go through these two, then we'll see what else you got. This is the Black Star. This is the Isham Blade Works kind of slippy, flippy thing. And I will tell you that for me, it's not a knife I'm going to carry much because I'm not digging the slippy, flippy thing. However, many of you out there that like the slip joints will probably love this knife. I'll tell you real quick what my loves and hates are about it just in the first few hours. One, the shape, the look. This thing is freaking gorgeous. The things I don't like will start mechanically. That right there.
Being That's a half stop?
Nope, it doesn't have a half stop, but being a slippy flippy, you can't get enough detent. If you're going to make it work right, you can't get enough detent to make it a perfect light flipper. Does it flip good? Yeah, it flips good, but you've got to put some effort into it. And that's okay. It's just that it's got a weaker detent, and that plays in on both sides whenever you've got it in your hand, and that's what it looks like in my hand. It's a 3-finger gripper. If you put your finger up here because it's got a weak detent, it's weak right there. Now, for a lot of you guys, you don't care about that, and that's friggin' wonderful. Myself, I have cut the crap out of my finger right there in the past, and I don't know. I don't seem to have the scar anymore. I used to have a scar on one of my hands really bad right there where I had closed a slip joint knife on myself. So I don't like that.
Yeah.
But for those of you that like slip joints, it is probably super cool. One other thing is I wish that he would have just left the pocket clip completely off of this one, but I'm always saying that, and the guys always want pocket clips, so whatever. M390, it is going to be a cool one, but this one will probably end up in the ownership of somebody else after I've done a video on it or so, because as cool as it looks, it's just not something I'm going to carry, and I try not to keep too many things I won't carry. You got any comments on this one from looking at it, Stassa?
Yeah, I can't wait till mine gets in. Now, you knew what drew me to that knife. That's just my blade shape. I love that blade shape. It has that buck 112 look to it. That iconic clip point, almost like a Lanny's clip, and I had to try out the little detent front flipper. I think that's the first I've seen like that. And after talking to Elijah over the phone about that one, he was telling me, I was like, man, I would have bought 3 of them if it was, a locking just a little bit bigger. And he said he's contemplating on making 3.5-inch liner lock version.
Yeah, I was looking at it, and I actually, and this is going to be a not what Elijah would want to do for sure, because it's not Elijah's thing. But I was looking at it, and I was actually thinking the way it's designed, I would like to see this guy. A liner lock would be cool, but I would like to see it without the flipper on it and in a lock back.
Yeah. It'd be like a Lanny's.
Yeah, and I think that that blade shape, even in this size, if it was a lock back, would be, well, it would get me back to those old timers and Buck Esquires and those things that we all used to carry.
Yeah, you old folks.
Now, wait a minute, you ain't that much younger than me, boy.
I had to throw a cheap shot there.
I see. And yes, Slicey, that's the deal, is the weak detent on open. That's the biggest thing for me. However, it is a super cool looking little knife. And I threw this guy out here because most people know what a 3.5-inch XM18 looks like, and I cleared my desk off earlier, so I don't have a Delica or anything.
That looks like the pocket clip for the XM18.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, about the right size.
Close it up. I bet you it's close. Close it and see if it's close to the pocket clip. Very close.
No? Yeah, it's pretty close. So, and this guy is interesting. This is a quiet carry chase, if I remember right. Is that correct?
Yes, that's it. Yep.
I'm not. Do you remember how much these cost, Stassa?
Yeah. The acrylic is $95. The G10 is $75. So I think he hit the price pretty good with what you're getting.
They're pretty thin. They've got a great look to them. I just love that kind of racerback style look. The acrylic scale, being that each and every one of them is unique, that's kind of like that finish that Best Tech's doing on some of their knives, Spectrum TI deal, making every knife unique. Yeah, and the Zome.
Yeah.
That is super cool. And I got it because it was out of N690. And I wanted to have something I can throw in my pocket and use with N690. So if anybody's got questions about the pocket clip, I cannot answer them because I'm probably never going to use it.
I can answer it.
All right. So what are your thoughts on this one, Stassa?
Me and my buddy Copper Dice, we did a kind of a group impressions video, and we're going to be doing a review together. But I've been carrying that one a good bit because I'm trying to get some carrying use time so I can get a full video on it. And I was drawn to it from the acrylic scales because you basically get a custom production knife, if that makes any sense, because they're all different, kind of like the Zome knives. And he also dropped a black and white. I don't know if you saw that on his Instagram. Looks super cool.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And another cool thing about, I've been talking to the owner of Quiet Carry quite a bit, and I didn't realize he's a very, very small operations, and I'm kind of picturing Quiet Carry as that company James brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking that it's in that size range, because he does these small batches that are usually funded by a Kickstarter project, and that kind of stuff I think is neat too. I love supporting small makers because you got to start somewhere, and if they don't get support, they don't last. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a good, non-scary, thin, lightweight, good slicer. And I'll tell you one thing that I like about N690, and we proved this to be true. Because I think, isn't it N680 that Benchmade uses their H2O knife or whatever?
It's one of them. I'm not sure which one.
So N690 is also super corrosion resistant. My buddy Copper Dice had his what Brian? What's your favorite roadie in N690? And he had it in his backyard, and it fell out of his pocket and was buried in the mud for over a month. And he was cutting grass, and he saw something shining, and he went to dig it out. And the only spot that had any corrosion was on the etching, the logo.
Wow, that's impressive, especially down there in
Yeah,
God's country where you live.
in the swamp. But and not to mention, it holds if it's done right, it holds a good edge. I find it better than VG10, and well, I guess depending on who's doing the VG10, but pretty similar to the VG10, and good 440C. It's a good EDC steel.
Okay, good. I mean, that's the main reason I got it was the scales, these fancy scales here, and the N690. I wanted to give that a shot in something that was small enough that I could carry it with one of the larger knives. So we're gonna give it a shot and see how it goes out. There it is up against the Hexam 18. You guys have been watching that for a couple minutes while Staz has been talking, but there you go. I have a handful more new ones, but what do you got over there, Nick?
I got
Staz?
something cool that two little pocket tools that one I just think it's super genius, and the other just is functional and it looks beautiful. And the first one, I don't know if y'all seen these, but they're the Ever Ratchet. This is just a genius idea. I can't believe it hasn't. It might have been used more, but see this. Okay, you got your bit right here. Can you see this, Zel? See that little spring right there, the leaf spring from the titanium.
Oh yeah, okay. So you can go one way with it, and you can
it's a ratchet.
like ratchet with it with the little spring from the titanium.
Yeah, how cool is that? And this one's in tie just because I wanted to put it on my keychain, it being lightweight. He makes it in stainless, and you can get different patterns on it. The only downfall, and I don't think at this time, I don't think he has a bigger one than this. Let me see if I can show you just a size reference. Here's the Spyderco Techno. So you see how small this thing is?
Oh, that's okay though.
I've actually tested it out with the Phillips on there, and something, just something you need to loosen up. You're not going to break free something. You just don't have enough leverage. Unless you wanted to put something in there to pry, but it's a small tool. I've always gotten a lot of use out of these pry tips. And as far as the bottle opener, I call it one of them 2-stage bottle openers. You gotta get the hook on it, lift it, and then reset and pull it back again. So it works in a pinch, but this next one works like a charm and is absolutely beautiful. Look at this thing. This is from.
That looks like a sport, man.
Oh man, and I'll tell you what. This is the titanium one. He calls it the kit or something like that. I think this is Knife Guys or something like that. Let me see. What does it say? Yeah, I think it's Knife Guys. It's on Instagram. And this one's out of titanium. This bottle opener works flawlessly. I used it during the LSU Alabama game to wipe away my tears.
I understand.
And I haven't got to use the little nail puller, and I don't think I probably ever will. But
okay, you need to measure the diameter of that hook.
Here?
Yeah. Not right now, but we need to measure that.
Yeah, because it's perfect.
If it's perfect, then we need to be using that diameter in the future.
Yeah, definitely. They did a good job of. See, a lot of times, whenever the hook's being done, it's not left far enough that way out, and they ended up making it flat, and that doesn't give you that good grab. Kind of like, I don't know if you can really see it on this one. See how that's flush with this part? It's all one flush like that. That just makes it to where you got to lift it and then reset, lift it again. Both are very cool. You know, that little tool's genius, and this thing is just a thing of beauty. They did like this, almost like that kinetic rain or whatever. What is it called? That
Acid rain.
Yeah, it almost has that same look to it a little bit. It's like that tree bark look or whatever. Just beautiful.
Yeah, that is cool. Hey, we got a couple of questions here. One, T. Willie says that the H2O folder is made out of N680. He checked just to be sure you were right, Stassa. And you were.
Cool. I thought so.
And Javon, I can't pronounce your last name, sir, has asked about HRC, hardness on the knives on the Rockwell scale. That's a tough one. Just knives in general, I hope. Okay, general EDC steel is between 58 and 60, and that is for general EDC. I agree with that. That's pretty much where it should be. You get much harder than 60, and with most general EDC steels, you start getting brittle stuff. You get softer than that, you start getting, soft steel.
Rollers.
Yeah, rollers. And that is your big issue whenever you get into some of the less expensive knives. Whenever you get down there around $20, $25 and they say they've got whatever steel in them, those knives may have whatever steel, but they've done some kind of shortcut on the heat treat, and it's usually soft. Sometimes if it's D2 that they're trying to say it is, and maybe it is, but a lot of times with the D2, the goof up is that it's too hard and it gets brittle. So,
or left it like 57 and it's way too soft.
Right. So, HRC for general EDC steels, 58 to 60, and I usually like to see 59 or 60 on most of them. Then if you've got your super steels, your M390 20 CVs. S110V, what was that?
Maximet,
S90V, and some of the others. What's that one that Spider ZDP 189, Rex 45? Those steels naturally work better at a higher HRC. Excuse me, but in general, okay, if you're talking about our knives, like these knives, they will all be right around 60. Whenever we do knives in the shop, the prototypes, like say this one, our target is generally 60. This is Crucible 440C at 60 HRC. So same deal with your general EDC. We don't try to make them harder just because you can do it. And we definitely, most of the time, do not try to make them softer. There are reasons to make knives softer, though.
Yeah.
For one, we'll say this knife here.
Or 1095, too.
Yeah. It was done at around 56, 57, and that was to make it easy to sharpen, easy to strop, and keep it sharp. This is 01, and it was done as a test at 62, I believe, if I remember correctly, to see how well 01 would hold up at that, with our heat treatment at that hardness. So, and it's actually held up really well. I've used the crap out of this thing. But, so, that's kind of the deal on HRC. And what was, or somebody said something else. And all you guys that are showing up late, no problem. You guys had a survey to fill out and all that fun stuff. So
yep, and that's what we're here for. We're here for the late night crowd.
Right. And now I can't move my mouse because I got too many knives around it.
Look, I'll add some. While he's doing that, I'll add something on the HRC. For me, if I want something that is going to be taking some heavy impacts, like say for 1095, I'm going to want somewhat of a lower HRC because it can be brutalized without snapping. It's going to have more spring to it for the most part.
Yeah, you bring up that is a great point, Stassa. Whenever you're doing really hard use knives or really bigger fixed blades or fixed blades meant for being out in the woods, most of those are done at a lighter HRC, 56, 57, maybe 58. And that is for exactly what Stassa just said, so that they can take an impact and also so that you can sharpen them on simple tools instead of having to carry fancy tools with you. Yeah, go ahead, Stassa. Sorry to cut you in there.
No, that's fine. That's exactly what I was saying. Like, that's why you see like 1075, just like all those, they'll have lower, especially in these big choppers. They're not looking for, extreme edge holding because usually you're chopping on wood and you want that impact instead of, that keen edge that, with heavy chopping, it's going to go through, just as long as you got some kind of edge.
Right. All right. So Rick's got a question, and then we'll move on to the stuff that's on the desk here. Mr. Kearns, no one won one of those knives. We Knife Company sold 2 of the Roxy 4 prototypes at Blade Show West, and one of the gentlemen that bought one of those knives sold it to another gentleman. So that's what happened. It wasn't a winning or anything, because right now Seth and I only have 2 of those prototypes, 1 each. Anyhow, stuff I wanted to talk about a little bit here is I have been talking with Russell of Artisan Cutlery, and he sent up for all of us to look around at, for Stassa to look around at, and some of the other guys for some of these knives are going to get to see them in the pass around deal, are some of their various models and the way they're doing things at Artisan Cutlery, which I think is pretty neat. I don't know how Stassa feels about it. Or do you know what they're doing over there?
What's that?
With Artisan Cutlery?
Okay. Well, I mean, I've reviewed 5. I got a review coming up soon on 5 different of their knives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Cool. Pretty much in all the flavors too. You know how they got their budget friend. I mean, budget, somewhat high end, and more high end. I got all the tiers.
Right. So that's the deal. There's 2 different really cool things that they're doing. And he sent me a smattering of stuff. One of them for me because I kind of liked it, and the rest of them for me and the group. This is kind of their premium deal. It is, I believe this one is S35VN, all titanium, and it is a small size of the tradition model. I think it's 2.95 inches, and I don't have my calipers up here to see, but
yeah, I think that's it.
I think they're all right at 3 or under 3 inches on the smalls, and they've done a good job of shrinking it down. But this one, and I believe you can get this one in M390 for a minor upcharge of like 30 or 40 bucks. So they're giving you a lot of options on these knives. And then they're going down, and this is like a mid-tier. And it is a liner lock, but it's all actual real carbon fiber all the way around. I believe, I haven't taken it apart yet, but I believe even the back spacer is carbon fiber in this guy. And this one is S35VN. And if I remember right, these are right around $100 or so. And don't quote me on that one, but it's kind of like a mid-level deal. Don't quote me on the price anyhow. And it's a large tradition. If you lay these 2 out together, I mean, it's pretty obvious it's the same knife. They've just adjusted it to be smaller. And I've swapped the pocket clip to left-handed on the little one. And then going down from there, you've got G10. It's a nice peel ply textured G10 with D2. Still the same knife, And I just really think that's cool. And another thing, before we get Staz's comments on this, because I'm sure he got something to say about this mess, we've got something they're doing new. This is their Falcon model. And if I think that's right, this one is aluminum, and I believe it's G10. And it is an inset liner lock in D2, and these are like $80. And it's best I can tell, and I've kind of beat this one up a little bit. It looks like hard anodized aluminum, and deep carry pocket clips on all of them. I'm kind of liking what Artisan Cutlery is doing. Stazza, you've had some in your hands. What do you think about them?
Yeah. Wait, real quick. I just want to say we'll touch back on the Ace Iona. I got one of those coming as well. But as far as the Artisan, okay, I just had a mixed bag of feelings with just the ones I had. The ones I had, I know they were their first models. I even had one of their Damascus ones. It was like a stainless Damascus. And there was some. It was almost kind of felt like they should have held off on releasing them. That they needed a couple of refinements on them, like the lock bar tensions were strong on all five of them, and there wasn't a chamfer on the lock bar to like disengage the lock bar. The actions weren't that great, but like I said, these all were like new. They could have been, when they first came out, because he had them for a while. They all had I think 4mm blade stock and 30 thousandths behind the edge. So if you have a caliper any right way around, or just to see, because I want to know, I think I heard somebody say that that's changed. And
keep talking, and I'll grab one.
Or Dylan, you might be able to tell me that too. On your design, do you know the blade stock, the thinness behind the edge? I do like the fact that they give you a model in every flavor imaginable. They got it in. You can get carbon fiber with S35 or carbon fiber like peel ply with D2. I've got the Manix 2 lightweight and S90. Anyone have a manly knife with S90?
All right, there is the D2. You're behind the edge thickness.
Yeah, see that's what I thought.
And I got the same thing. There's your S35VN. This one should be a little thicker, and it is.
Yeah, but that's still way under what That's what I thought, and that's why I asked you to do that, just because I didn't think they were still like that.
And there's on the little one. Check that out, just like it should be.
Oh, I love that one. That's all right.
And okay, well that and yes, someone said we should have a Mallory Designs commercial. Yeah, we can do that real quick for you, Dylan. Dylan has and I can't. You'll have to write it in there, Dylan, because I can't ever pronounce that correctly. But he has a knife coming out with Artisan Cutlery very soon, and it's gonna be a cool one. It really is. And you may be seeing some other designers with Artisan Cutlery in the very near future. They are aggressive on getting designers in with them and doing collaborations, not doing what a lot of the companies do, where they just want to make exactly what you had on the piece of paper. They're really wanting to do collaborations with the designers and take a design, make it a little bit their own, while keeping the design looking like what the designer made, or keeping, I don't know how to say that, keeping their trade dress on it while doing a little bit to make it an Artisan Cutlery knife, which I think is the right way to do that stuff.
Yeah.
And
now see, and that's why I wanted you to measure it, because that's a cool thing that shows you right there that they're paying attention to, feedback. Like those initial run ones that I got were way different than what you have.
Right, and that's something I got the same thing you got. Whenever Artisan Cutlery, I don't know if it was whenever they first came out, but it was a few months ago. I talked to Russell, their guy, and I asked him a few questions, and I basically told him, I was like, well, don't send me anything yet. Whenever you guys get things squared away and you're feeling good about your knives, then send me something. So I talked to him again at Blade Show West, and I got a good look at all their knives at Blade Show West, and I said, buddy, I think you're there. And he's like, yeah, we think so too. So then he decided to send some in for us to get a look at.
I'll tell you, Russell is one cool dude. I talked to him for about an hour at Blade Show Atlanta. Super nice, super cool, fun to talk to.
Yeah, and Oaken, I cannot confirm or deny anything at this point with any knife company on this globe.
Someone better do something before Wheat Knives takes over the world.
I want to know what's up with this, T. Willie. I hear this all the time, and I'm sure Nick's here, or Staz is hearing it too. And I hear it from people inside the industry that Wee's taken over the world, and
that's because of all the collaborations they're doing on Master Drop.
And actually, Oaken, I lied to you. I can confirm that this knife will be made by Best Tech Knives, and it is in production right now. And I can confirm that we just signed off on the final bit of engineering on the Roxy 4, and the regular Roxy from Wee Knives, this one from Wee Knives as well, is in final assembly and should be to us soon. So I did lie to you a little bit, but currently I won't confirm or deny anything else with any other knife company on the globe. I have, talking with all these guys, I have information about a lot of stuff that even though they haven't told me not to share it, sometimes I want to let the people that are involved do the sharing and not me, because it's kind of their excitement. I've been there with the Wee Knives and the Roxy and that excitement and the malware, and I don't want to steal that from them. Let them have it, just like Dylan. And it is the
okay, go ahead.
It is the and I lost it. Where'd it go? Dylan had explained to me Archeo. Archeo.
Foxy Roxy, you're right.
Yes, the sexy knife or sexy knife.
I can't wait. I can't wait to get both of those.
Me either, man. I'm waiting for them.
Small and large. I wish they would come out at the same time just so I could knock them both out. Oh well, yeah. You see that Artisan? I checked that out. Did you see that, Zel, at Blade Show? The auto bally that they had? That was so crazy.
Yes, I did. They cannot. Did you see how they had it set up, though? They had it set up with bottle openers and combs and multi-tools.
Not the one I checked out. It had a blade in it.
Huh. Well, that's the ones I looked at were all other things besides blades, because they cannot import an automatic or a balisong with a blade in it.
Yeah, this was a prototype. Showed it to me because he was like, "You want to see something cool?" And I was like, "I'm always down to see something cool." And he showed that to me, and I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." I'd probably cut my finger off with it, but it's really cool. Super genius idea. I was like, however y'all pulled that off, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I wanted to see one of those balisong guys up there at Blade Show West mess with one, but they never did.
Oh, that would probably they would be like, oh no, That's like taking a pure traditional guy and taking his favorite traditional and putting a liner lock on it. Probably slap you.
Case Knives did that. They've got what are those called? The ones that have the lock on them?
Oh yeah, what is it? Oh, now you done made me draw a blank. Not cake cat. No, I keep wanting to say strap, but it's not a strap lock. I know what
Somebody
you're
will
talking
know.
about. I know what you're talking about, though.
But yeah, they took that one first. They put a liner lock on it, and then after that got settled in, they went and put a pocket clip on it. I mean, the traditional guys probably throw fits over that one.
Yeah, tribal lock. That's it. Thanks, Ogun.
Right.
Oh, and
the
rust
rust
locks.
lock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
The rust lock is the one you're talking about. Tribal lock is on that other one with the the tang sticking out. I'm not sure. I want to grab a mass drop. Yeah, I passed on the mass drop Laconico because I kind of like the Kaiser design a little bit more, but I'm hearing nothing but praises on that knife, and I just didn't like it aesthetically. What do y'all think about it? Or anybody own it? Did you get one, Slicey? I have one of those cases and couldn't remember. Who has that new Ray Laconico mass drop Keen I think it's called. It's just a simple design, and I passed on it just because it just looked a little too plain, and the Kaiser I liked a little bit more. But everybody, I mean, even Pete, he was like, I'm not the type to gush over a knife, but I don't know. He said something about it, and it was odd to
Yeah, I
hear
saw
Pete.
one of his Instagram posts. He was really digging it. And I was like you. I did not get one because aesthetically it was boring. Okay. Rick Kearns asked what the difference is between a liner and a bolster lock. So we can talk about that a little bit.
I got one right here.
Yep, I've got them right here, and then you can correct everything I do wrong, all right? Okay, this is a liner lock. Just your basic, just a straight liner. Nothing, no fancy cuts, no nothing. Just a liner that pops out there and locks on the tang of the knife. That's it. Liner lock.
Mm-hmm.
Bolster lock. Okay. See how our lock interface right here is out over the top of the the overlay where it's been cut in, and it locks, but it leaves the overlay sticking out. That is generally considered a bolster lock. And now we'll move it over to Stassa, and he can correct everything that I didn't say right.
No, I mean, I was having a discussion the other day because I mean, I think there is I got the I don't know if my screen's on or not because
You're on.
thing's not my computer's not loading it up, but I mean, basically, it's just saying your bolster is the lock and acts as an over travel as well. That's one thing I like about it, and it gives you the best of both worlds. When you grip the knife, you're not having, and when you're flipping the knife, you're not having to worry about putting lock bar pressure on with your finger because you have that bolster to set your finger, but you have, pretty much a frame lock.
Now, wait a minute.
What?
Slicey was bored by the Laconico.
Yeah,
Mr. Boring was bored.
Yeah, wait a minute, Brian. That was Brian's spec all day long.
Absolutely. Okay, yeah, back to those bolster locks. I'm going to move back over to my screen for just a minute. If I can get it to go, there we go. What Staz is saying there is one of the reasons that I like these. I call them frame locks with overlays, like this Storm.
Yeah.
You can't get your fingers in the wrong place on the knife, and it always flips open just like it's supposed to, no matter which hand you put it in. So the bolster lock or the what I call frame lock with an overlay is really cool, and your liner lock is simply straight liners with a locking mechanism. That and that is your big difference.
Yep.
All right, back to Nick.
I'm trying to see. Let's get on real quick. I had to pull the trigger on that Giant Mouse Ace. What is it? Iona? Yeah, Iona. I think it is. I mean, it's a $99 because it was funny because it must have been M390 day today that I didn't know about because they dropped another run of the Kershaw Links and the Kershaw Dividends at M390.
Oh
And
wow.
I was just about to buy because I have the dividend in S35, so I didn't need that one. So I was gonna buy a Link, but I scrolled down and they had those Ianas for what I think $10 or $20 more, and I figured, what the hell, why not? To
Well,
me, it could be an upgraded Delica.
yeah, and I always love those guys' designs. I don't know, for that one just didn't trip my trigger for some reason. But those two guys with the giant mouse knife, Jim Zanzo, and who's the other guy? Maze.
Whoa!
Box.
Something just happened with the audio.
We're still
Okay,
good here.
no, there it goes. It just went crazy all of a sudden.
All right, well, we're still good here.
Okay.
Those guys always make really ergonomic, really good knives that are always a pleasure to use. So I didn't get one. I'm kind of this way and that about it, but you've got one, so hey, we'll get to see one.
Yeah, I was going for the blue. Blue's my favorite color, but literally I was checking out over the phone, and when I went to tell her the model, the whatever Blade HQ model number, I was on like the last four digits, and it's I refreshed and it said out out of stock. I was like, no.
Oh no.
So I went with the only other color, the green, and I went to yeah, it hurt mine too. I went with the green with the stone wash blade because I'm not a satin fan. I'm not. I know a lot of people love it. I like to when I use my knives hard, it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't look like I've been cutting through metal cans or anything.
Okay.
But
Well, hey, I want to answer something for Jovan here real quick before his wife comes and rips him away from the computer or the phone and throws him in bed. She's got something planned for him to do, I think. Uh, Anyhow, he asked about heat treatment methods a little ways back, and here's the deal with the heat treatment. Whenever you're talking about steel, and people are going to talk about all these fancy, oh my god, this guy's got it perfect, and I've even said that before, and that guy's got it perfect. Here's how you get perfect heat treatment. You follow the instructions from the manufacturer of that steel, which means you have to buy a steel and know who the manufacturer of the steel was. So you're going to have to spend a little more for the steel to get Carpenter's, Crucible, Bowler, etc. But you know who made the steel, you go and get their data sheet for that steel, and you follow it to a T. Cryo can be optional. It can add a little bit of strength and durability to the steel, but the biggest thing is follow their instructions to a T. Don't try to make up your own stuff. Don't think that you know better than they do. These scientists and metallurgists spend lots and lots of time figuring that out. Do what they say to do. That's the bottom line on heat treatment of your general EDC steels.
yeah. Hey, Zell, I hope the audio is still good. I unplugged my mic because I didn't know what was causing that crazy noise.
Okay.
So y'all let us know if it happens again because I just want to make sure because it might have been my headphones.
All right. I think we were good.
Sorry, Jeremy. I think you'll be happy in the long run, and plus, Instagram's my safe place because I don't have all the drama on Instagram. I don't have anybody that except my knife people, and all the makers are there. So you'll be happy you did join Instagram, bud. But sorry about that. Let's see.
iPod's just blue. How do I explain it to Apple? Well, that's no problem if you bought Apple Care, my friend.
Wait, what's up? That's the bottom line. Kazil, it's paranormal. Yep, that's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, it was probably mine because I don't hear it anymore.
Yeah, as far as that, the heat treatment stuff, I have tried all of the magic recipes for 1095 and 440C and other stuff, and whenever you take it to use and you take it to the the HRC tester thing, just follow what Crucible or Carpenter says, and you get exactly what they say you're going to get, and you've got a good piece of steel. Every time I've tried to do somebody's magic voodoo, whatever, I've got junk.
And I could put a 2 cents on that too. That, you know, you get, the only time I think that that's even remotely a good idea is, say, when you have a company like Benchmade that's been using let's say, you know, their 4 steels, S30, 154, 20 CV, and 440, and they've had many years to do these finite adjustments to it to make it a little bit better. But, you know, especially if you're just getting started and stuff, stick with what you know. I mean, stick with what's proven.
Yeah, if you're just getting started and you're wanting heat treat steel, the first and most annoying thing that you have to purchase is a heat treat oven. Even if you're doing carbon steels, buy a heat treat oven. Those people that swear up and down that you can do everything in the forge, you sure can. There's no doubt about that. But if you do it in a heat treat oven, you get better consistency out of it.
Yeah.
And there's Nick cleaning that busker up. You
Yeah,
can tell everybody about that thing again.
Yeah, look at that bad boy. I contacted him the other day, because like I was trying to decide what finish I want whenever I send this one back to him, and y'all should see the ridiculous amount of buskers I have screenshotted on my phone. I'm like, that's the one. Oh, that's the one.
I know. I know what you want. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I know what you want. You want the one that's got all the random sized holes that have been chamfered?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Hang on, not done yet. All of those holes have been polished and anodized bronze, and then the entire rest of the scale has been went over with a small Cratex to give it that brushed aluminum look, or that that aluminum look that you get with their circular Cratex thing.
Yeah.
That is just freaking. I'd almost give the money for the busker just to have one like that to look at.
I'm pretty sure that I have that exact picture. That I think I don't know if it was on his site or it went on Blade HQ, but I took every angle picture that he had of that knife.
Oh, that thing! I've seen it in the Wayfarer. The first one it was made was it's not the Wayfarer. What's the other one?
Swish.
The Swish that my brother bought.
Yeah.
And Seth's the one that called him up and said, "Hey, I want one done like this. Can you do that?" And he was like, "Sure." And made him one like that. And then my brother sold it to Tony.
That's my busker. Yo, look, I forgot about this guy that was in the pocket. This thing I forgot about it because it hasn't left my pocket.
Okay, give me 1 second before Jovan has to run off because I want to hear every detail about that one.
Go ahead.
Jovan, you are right. S35VN does perform different per different company. And what the difference is not cryo treatment. It's not any of the things that people are going to talk about. The difference is the tempering on that steel. If you go with a Chris Reeve knife, he tempers it to a slightly lower HRC. Why? Because he's got a bunch of older guys buying those knives that he wants them to be able to sharpen them with regular stones and doesn't want them to have to buy diamonds and all the fancy stuff to sharpen those knives, but he still wants them to have a great steel. You go to, Hinderer's S35VN. It is at the same hardness that you're going to get out of most of your major companies. And even, Kai Industries, their fancy knives. I've got one on the table here somewhere. ZT knives, they have got their S35 straightened out, and it is all right around 60 HRC now too. But for a while, people were having some issue with getting S35 heat treated because it's not the easiest heat treat in the world. And especially in the production environment, there's a lot to explain there. But most people that are using it now have got it pretty much straightened out, with the exception of Chris Reeve. But he's not doing it wrong. He's doing it for his customers. Okay, I'm done gabbing. Tell me all about that neon.
Oh, wait, first, the screen name X95 MK220 is this the one I got from you, or are you just because I don't know if that's it's just a screen name, but he just started he just started following us on YouTube, so I was just seeing if that was him or not. This is the Sheragoroff Neon Light in S90V, and I'll tell you, it's just perfection. I mean, uh, it's weird I can't put it into words. Okay, never mind. Um, this torrent is just as drop shut, if not more. I mean, let's see. It's super drop shut, but this guy, I don't know if it's those multi-row bearings giving it more stability, on the blade, more surface area on the blade. So it's got more stability because it's this effortless drop down, just, I don't know. And the smoothness whenever you pull this, like at first when I saw that flipper tab, how small it is, I thought it was going to dig into my finger.
Uh-huh.
But literally, it takes no effort. Just pull that thing, barely pull it back, and it just rockets out. And I just love that simplistic design.
Well, yeah, I can tell you a little about that. I doubt that it's the multi-row bearings that's really doing that. That is because the people over there at Shigorov Knives are taking the time to set that lock bar and to set that detent ball and get that detent hole all perfect.
Yeah.
That is a major thing that you don't get on a lot of production knives, and you don't get on even some boutique knives. Don't do that, but Shigorov seems to have always done that.
Yeah, they definitely. I can tell you right now too. On both of these knives, their lock bar tension is definitely dialed in to be right where it needs to be, to where it's right on that borderline to not having enough tension, but it still has enough tension. You know what I'm saying? Like you can definitely tell by how easy it is to push the lock bar on in. I mean, how easy it is to disengage the lock bar on both of them, and especially, let's see, I think and this is something interesting too. Let's see, look, both of them kept the lock bar cut out on the inside about the same size, so that's going to give you easier relief, and you're going to have, it's not going to be as much tension. These are my two smoothest knives in the collection. They both drop about the same amount. I mean, the same speed down. This one just has a fluidity to it. I don't know if that's even a word, but
it is.
It just has that controlled, glassy, just yumminess.
You betcha. And that's just it. Those two companies are taking the time to do everything and set each and every knife, and that's something that you just don't get out of many companies. But you got to pay for it. I mean, what's that neon runs what? $500, $600?
Well, the neon light with the M390 and the milled inside and multi-row is $695, brand new.
Yeah.
And
have a good one, Slicey.
Yeah, see you, Brian. And the standard S30V one with the post, I mean, instead of the backspacer, the standoff is, I think, $595 maybe. Yeah, $595, because remember I told you I was trying to choose between the Southern Mini Tolk and the Neon.
Yeah.
And I ended up going with the Tolk just to go with, because Brad is just such a cool dude.
Yeah.
And this is the one that ended up in my collection. Now, I will say it's a great, well-made knife, but there are some flaws and two pretty decent flaw. Like, nothing that's a deal breaker for me, but could be for some people on this knife.
Okay.
And I'll talk about it more when I do my video on it, but something I was pretty shocked to see on it.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Damon53 is asking, what do we think of the SOCOM Elite? I'm going to give my little thing about the SOCOM Elite. Same thing I told to the company whenever they asked what I thought back at the Blade Show West. You don't give me an option to carry the knife the way I want to, so I'm not going to deal with it.
Yeah. I'll
And
tell you,
that's...
if they did, I even though they do that, I think I'm still going to buy that knife because it's a performer. That is a super performer.
Oh, I know.
But damn it. Especially for how big that is, kind of like it reminds me of the military.
Yeah,
I mean, big ass blade, and it's got to be tipped down.
And if I carried a back pocket knife every day, I suppose that would be okay, but I don't.
Yeah. But like I said, I think I still got to experience it so I can really get a full use on it. And I think I want the drop point apocalyptic finish. Even though I'm not a Tanto guy, that Tanto is pretty sexy too, though.
Oh, it is. And they make it only tip down, Damon, for the SOCOM Elite, for the current one. And I don't know about older ones.
No, they were all tipped down.
But, it's one of those things. You look at the knives that are on Stazza's table there, and then we'll swap over to mine, and then look at the stuff we've got here. We're kind of at a point with, and even though the SOCOM Elite is not a terribly expensive knife compared to what some of the stuff that's here, but we're kind of at a point, if a knife doesn't check the majority of the boxes, we're probably gonna skip it.
And to be honest, how the community, like how much the knife community has grown in the last 3 years, nobody should ever settle on any design because there's so many variations now that you should be able to find pretty much exactly what you want. If a certain knife doesn't have, for instance, talking about the SOCOM, if the tip down's a deal breaker, I guarantee you can find something very comparable to it in tip up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's go back here. You want comparable and tip up? There you go.
Yep.
There's Liang Ma 15, and pretty much. And somebody asked about the Adam Purvis Primordial. I think that's a sexy knife.
The what one?
The Primordial that Purvis did.
Oh, yeah.
Adam Purvis.
Yeah, well, that's my blade shape again going on.
That is a sexy knife. I don't have one. I need to get a hold of Adam and see if I can't get something done up pretty cool or something, because I probably should have one.
Yeah, I think he said he was gonna, when he got a chance, he was gonna let us check one out. I gotta get back with him though.
Okay, that would be cool, because I know Adam and he's a pretty cool guy, and that's a pretty cool knife. It's got a little Isham in it, and but it's got enough Adam in it to keep it a user, an everyday knife.
Yeah. Yep. I'll tell you, and I think who said X95. I will own, I'll own a Rockstead one of these days. After handling my blade show, there's something about a thumb stud action that is that smooth that that sets me off right there. I love it. And I know they're super expensive, but if I find one for the right price, especially the one I want, I'm getting it. No ifs, ands, buts about it.
And there you go. And full black wash with the Timascus clip. No, I do not want one of Adam's clips. I'll make my own, thank you. I like Adam and everything, but I am not a fan of his clips. That's just personal preference deal.
And took a survey. Oh, thanks, Ryan.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And just for the here's the deal. We did this late at night, and all that, so nobody's really had a chance to catch up yet. And there's already 31 responses to the survey, so you guys are awesome. And do we both own CRKs? Yes, I own a rather interesting CRK, and I know that Nick owns a CRK, and I'll step back here and grab mine. Hang on.
Mine's up on the screen right now. Boom, boom. I don't know if is my screen up, Bill? I don't know if my screen's up or not, but yeah, there you go. This is the one I picked up at Blade Show 2 years ago, and the story about this one is this is probably my 5th CRK, but this is my first large in Cosi, and if I was going to spend this kind of money again, it was going to be hand-picked, smooth. I wanted it to be able to be flipped, whatever I wanted out of it. I'm spending a good chunk of change on this guy. And I went through probably 30 of them. And once I handled this one, it was a display model. And the guy tried to tell me he couldn't sell it to me because it had a tag on it. So I told him, I was like, you're going to lose the sale because you don't want to take a paper tag off of it. And Miss Reeve, what is it, Ann, I think?
Yeah, Ann.
She looked at him like I thought she was going to slap him right there. She was like, take that damn tag off of it right now. And I was like, thank you very much. So couldn't be happier with this one. Only thing is, it's a little bigger than I can carry comfortably nowadays. And for me, the small 21's a perfect size for me. It's about the same size as this guy. So this is in the collection right now. I don't know, if I find the right 21, it may go later. I don't know. But go ahead, Zel.
All right, so I've got your small Insingo 21 right here.
Like a spot. Okay, you're back on, huh?
Yeah. See, I've got your small Insingo 21 right there.
Yeah, too bad it's a lefty.
Yep, it is a lefty.
But I don't know. I might think about that one. You selling that one?
I would, yeah. I just don't carry it enough, and it is begging for somebody to do some anodization at this point because it did get carried quite a lot for a while. So it's got all the standard CRK snail trails all over it.
I love that though.
But it's got, I can't remember the company. Whenever I went to do that series of videos, there was a company that I got a hold of down in Florida that helped me find this exact knife because it is left-handed, dual thumb lug, small Sabenza 21 Insingo. And
like unicorn.
Yeah, these are kind of unicorns with the dual thumb lug because I didn't want to be left out whenever I had it in my right hand. So, yeah, and Fugio, that was the other part. He found me one that out of the box was kind of like what Nick was saying. It had a freaking fluid, smooth action that I got in all kinds of trouble for the videos on these, though, talking about the left-handed thing, and I didn't take it apart right because apparently the Chris Reeve guys have some special method. They take them apart and put them back together. I treated it like
I haven't owned one yet. I'm ashamed to admit it because I love the large 21 spalt. Yeah, that spalted beach is beautiful.
I will say that currently the CRK knives are kind of a hard sell at their price point because they've done things. Part of it's tradition and part of it is I'm not sure. I'm not going to say. But like the hole here, I'm positive that way back whenever Chris Reeve started making these knives, he needed that hole to hold it in a fixture.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
And today, that wouldn't be necessary.
Yep. You,
And
you would have thought he would have changed that by now.
there are a lot of little things about the knife that just make it really, really plain. And I know that's appealing to a lot of people, but it kind of looks like that the Reeve family would have done something with the designs to bring them into the modern era. Now, granted, I say in the modern era, I'm talking only the past 3 years where things have gotten to quality levels to match these. Uh, the For a long time, if you wanted quality, you had, well, where are we at?
Yep, the Holy Trinity.
That's what you had.
Yep.
Those three right there. And but it's gotten so much better over the past 3 years or so.
Yeah, that was when the Hinderers were going for $1,200 on the secondary.
Yeah, I remember that. I bought a Gen 4 Hinderer slicer from a dealer here not too far from me. And he sold it to me for the standard $425. But
Yeah.
before he would sell it to me, he's like, he said, "Are you going to walk out the door and sell that on the internet?" I was like, "Oh man, I'm not going to do that." He said, "Because if you are, I'm just going to refuse the sale."
Yeah. Which
Like,
is cool.
and I had that knife up until about a month before I bought this. Bought the Warthog.
Hey Zell, somebody asked. I can't. I'm not gonna butcher the name. It's FUJIO001. Is it Blades We Love that does them really sweet anos on tie? Or
Uh, Blades We Love does some really cool ones.
and then who's USA Made Blades does too, huh?
Yeah, but they only do it on the ones they sell new.
Yeah. Blades We
But
Love does all the patterns, right?
I think they do. And the sharpener guy, what's his name?
Spade.
No, no, no. I'm trying to think of the
Oh,
inner.
oh man.
Not Elmer, the guy that hangs out with Adam Purvis.
Yeah, yeah. He does all the crazy finishes and stuff.
He does a lot of them. Yeah, he does a
Uh,
lot. Anno and Cerakote and
yeah. I can't think. Uh, Fanatic Edge.
yeah, Fanatic Edge.
Yeah, he
Uh,
does some great work.
yeah,
So,
Blades We Love and Fanatic Edge, and I can definitely recommend Fanatic Edge because I know the guy, have been introduced to him, and he is a stand-up guy. He's going to do a good job for you. Blades We Love seems to do that as well, but I don't know the guy.
oh, we got Seth in the house.
Yeah, and there is my brother Seth. That's the Todd Knife and Tool that just popped in.
A few people, just commenting about, the price tags on CRK and wouldn't go there, wouldn't go that far for a knife, and that's always and will always be the motto I live by when it comes to my knives. If if I buy a knife, hence this guy or this guy right here, if if I know it's not going to be carried, and if I'm scared to carry it and use it, then because it's too expensive, and I've had knives like that, like the Tolk at the time, then it's not going to stay in the collection. It's definitely not like I'm. None of my knives stay in a safe. They all stay on, like the ones that are in my rotation at the moment stay on my EDC Valet tray in my living room, and that's the best way to do it. If you're not, if unless you're just a strict, collector. I like to test my knives and use them and have fun with them, and it's okay if you don't. I mean, that's just different types of you know people, and that's how. I mean, how do you look at it, Zell? I mean, if you're not carrying one, are you just going to keep it around? Or I mean, now
No,
you know
no.
one thing is different if it's a sentimental knife or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. But all right, so My brother's telling us that he got the Medford knife of the week, and now he can tell us if this is the Medford knife of the week he got. Because if he did, that is one good looking knife.
Wait, go back. I want to see the finish on the front. I love that drop point. But he does some cool looking finishes. I'll tell you that.
It is the simplest thing in the world, let me tell you.
Yeah, I can't see it that well, but I just like remember that New York like backdrop scene he was doing on some of the knives.
Yeah.
That was cool. He like when he first came out with that, I thought that was really cool.
All right, so Seth has picked up a Micro Praetorian, and I just got confirmation from Jeff today that they have put in an order for my Micro Praetorian.
Cool. That's one I want to check out. Once you get bored with it, you have to let me check it out. Yeah, LTK. I think it was Blades We Love that he sent his out to. If that's the company I'm thinking of, they do some really cool anno work.
But yeah, that is cool. I've got to email Jeff back here in a little while, probably tomorrow, and I'm going to put in my order for one, and we'll see how that comes up. But Seth, that one is a super cool for. I lost it now, but super cool knife. And
yeah, this is a Grayman Dua. Somebody asked if this was a Grayman Dua. I just made I made these scales for it, so that might be why it doesn't look like one. I don't know. I bought this guy 7 years ago whenever I started my job at the plant, and I bought it strictly for a heavy user, and it performed flawlessly. This is one of those knives, kind of Zel, that we were talking about in the beginning. Stayed true to everything. It's got the thick blade stock, and it's 30 thousandths behind the edge or 35 thousandths behind the edge.
yeah, I'm working on getting Seth in here. Hey, Ray, you need to go to the apexnews.com to find the survey. It is not on Wicked Edge USA.
No. Hey, if you can't both get in here, you can if you want me to tap out for a little while. I don't know if you can
Dude,
do
I can
that.
bring 16 people in this deal.
You heard me?
Yeah, I can bring 16 people in here.
Oh, okay.
I'm using a touch
Well,
screen, so it's
hey,
going to take me a minute.
when Seth comes in, I'm gonna let y'all two talk for a bit. I'm gonna let my dog out again. Okay.
All right, well, give me a minute here. I've
Yeah,
got
no,
to.
I'm good. You do what you're doing. Look, I don't know if I'm on screen or not, but this is my quiet carry chase, and look at that. It looks like Buckeye Burl, dyed Buckeye Burl. Absolutely beautiful.
Oh, dadgummit.
Yeah, for anybody who missed our live feed earlier, you definitely want to go check that out so you can get in on the action for the giveaway. We got about $3,000 worth of prizes, and I know I'd be happy to own any of it because I do own some of them. Let's see.
That's right.
Let's see. 16. What you talking about, Oaken? I got an old school DFF1 with the old grinder. Sweet. Can't find the sir. Oh. Stassa, is yours on Instagram or Facebook? Is my what, Rick?
Hello.
Rick, what are
Nick,
you
you still
asking?
there?
My what? Oh yeah, Rick. If you're talking about the giveaway, both of them. Me and Zelrick did a group giveaway. Let's see. Yeah, the giveaway. Me and Zel did a group giveaway, and there's two ways. You can enter prize. You have to go watch both Zell's live feed that me and him did together, and then my last uploaded video on my YouTube channel. Read the description box, and it'll tell you how to enter for both of them. But all mine, the way to enter the last 2 prize packages in our giveaway is by doing the comment that I talk about in the description box. Zel said he could put 16 people on. Oh. Yeah.
Yes, I can. I can put 16 people in here. And
that'd be rather chaotic.
That's right. And Seth, I just sent a invite to your email. It's whenever you click on the invite, it should open up Hangouts on your phone. And that should bring you right in.
Yeah.
All right. So where are we at?
Basically, I was just telling Rick about the giveaway info. Just telling him to go watch both of our last videos so he can get all the information he needs. Check the description boxes. Pull me in the game. Put me in the game, coach. You ready to play? Let's see.
Well, I tell you what.
All hell due to.
Don't laugh. We're going to start doing some of that. That is one of our goals. We're going to get some industry players in, and we're going to get some of you guys in on these late nights, because it's all about having a good time talking about knives, right?
Well, Magic, I look, hey, I wouldn't care about, you could ramble all you want, dude. That's whatever. And like Zell said, it'd be cool. I would like to do that one night where we pull people out of the crowd to do the magic show.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to get a different camera set up to do that, because
how does
I can't be doing it.
Do you have the little sub screens?
Yeah, kind of. With that it's just bobbing back. There's Seth.
Yep.
All right, Seth, I'm going to bring you in.
Flip your camera around, because I don't want
flip your camera around, man. There you go.
Okay, hey, y'all talk, and I'm gonna let my dog out.
All right, man. So, Seth, can you hear us?
Yep.
All right, now I'm going to be quiet and let you talk, because you're not using a microphone and a headset, so we'll make all kinds of odd noises for everybody.
Okay. So that is the root kit, the second revision with
Seth, turn your phone the other way and get the video oriented.
Like that?
Yeah, and I get your phone oriented where it shows the video right.
Like that?
There you go. Yep.
Okay.
Instagram's up and down. YouTube is sideways.
So this is rootkit reversion, or version 2. This is the revision. And I've got a stainless or a clean titanium screw in there for some reason, because I don't have clips and screws for both of these, so I'm switching them back and forth. It's got a marble carbon fiber over travel stop in this one, so that's the differences. The differences are marble carbon fiber over travel stop and the fact that it can be rolled open instead of just with the thumb. Can be rolled from the front off of that right there.
Very nice.
Blackened titanium backspacer, blackened titanium hardware, marble carbon fiber. And then this was the first version, and this one actually, based off the feedback from Greg Medford, this one was going on the scrap pile. And then I took it out and did basically what he said to do to it. And then this one now is centered up perfectly and has perfect action.
That is super cool. And that also goes to show, I mean, a lot of people talk about Greg and his attitudes and stuff, but Greg is a super cool dude.
Scout leather tools up there.
Yep. We're giving away a couple of those.
Come on.
Nice. I got another one coming from another guy. I'll have to get his name and give it to you. It was supposed to be here this week, but something about a fire in California.
Oh yeah, that happened.
Man, I hate hearing that.
Wasn't him, but wherever he was getting material shipped from. Oh, and this one's got the difference here is you'll like this, Stassa.
Oh, I love that knife.
So if you notice the difference in where the two thumb holes are placed.
Yeah, the top one's down a little bit further.
Yeah, so this one's standard. This is what most people would do, and it looks better for what it's worth.
Yeah, but that
But
other
this
one looks really functional.
Is where it's supposed to be, and it's more functional.
Yeah, bet you get a good middle finger flick on that one too.
Well, these are on phosphor bronze, so
yeah, I guarantee. But does that can you catch it on the fuller?
you can. It's just the knife is made specifically to have that hydraulic feel when you open it.
Yeah, I was just talking about that.
So it doesn't have, you're not going to get like this is not going to. I mean, you can, but it's not meant to do that. It's specifically meant to be solid all the way through that action and to be rock solid everywhere. I
like that. The first time you showed that blade shape, I loved it. When you said you were going to scrap that one, I was about to cry. Kind of like that Canto you still need to make.
Yeah. I'll fix that one up and send it to you. But this one... So the difference is also you see that the blade is inset a little bit different, but this one is going to production. I'll probably send off the final models this week, but there will be one change. You see how the blade is straight out of the handle like that?
Yeah.
So this one's actually going to be, if I can get it on camera, the blade is actually going to be angled down about like so.
So it's going to have it all set?
Canted just a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be canted down. Probably about like that is about what it's going to be, which will make it easier to roll open, and it'll give it a better position in the hand.
And guys, Seth can't see anything that you're saying, and we appreciate all of the kind comments on the Root Kit. That's the knife that he has in his hand right now. It's one that we've been talking about, and he has been working on. All him on making those. He has been working on them for months now, trying to get them to what you see there in his hand.
How do you spell that? Because I don't know. Is it Root Kit?
Root Kit, ROOTKIT. So if you guys haven't caught on yet, there's like two naming conventions. There's one is the dogs, right? Roxy, the Risty, the Val, all of those. And then the other is, so if you guys weren't aware of this, I'm the chief digital officer for a company. So I have all these little hackers that work with me. So the rest of these are generally named using hacker terminology.
I love it.
So like this model, I've been doing drawings for that one.
All right.
That one is going to be probably the next one I'm messing around with, but that one's the InfoSec.
Now, what is that, like a sub 3-inch right there?
So this is the one, and I've got it somewhere here. I'll go find it. I have a sub 3-inch version of it that I was messing around with, and it looks horrible because I was trying to figure out before I made the Root Kit how to do one.
The one that you got the drawing for, what is that one? 3.5?
It's 3.5 with a 3-inch cutting edge because it's got that huge front.
A full forward finger tool.
Yeah.
A human size.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I like to see right there. A tray of knives.
Yeah, there's knives all over my house. Parts of knives, pieces of knives.
My wife says it's ridiculous.
That is the smaller.
Oh, yummy. I need that to go with my Roxy.
Yeah. Now, this one had lots of issues that had to get worked out, but I think I've worked most of them out. So this one probably won't ever get finished. which sucks because the backspacer was really nice on it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Pattern.
But the blade shape changed. You can see this has got more of a reminiscent of what's his name, Terrell, the
Borka Blades guy.
Yeah, it's reminiscent
Sebastian.
of that. Not the same idea because it's much shorter. It's up here and it's meant to be held in this grip, and then you'd come over it with that grip. But more thumb room up there, and then whenever you've got this, you can't have that there because what happens is your fingers get on the lock bar. So that's why it's got to be
Hey, we talked about how to fix that. Make it a bolster lock.
Yeah, we don't do that.
I love it.
But so you notice the thumb hole got moved out, and on the smaller version there, I did smaller version models of this. It'll be moved forward, and then the fuller is actually, this is about a 11/32 flat fuller, but the actual fuller will be about a 0.34. What is that?
0.034.
Yeah, 0.034, but that's what, like 11/32 or something.
I don't know. I speak decimal and metric, not fractions.
It'll be about 0.034 for the fuller, and it'll be a rounded ball nose fuller instead
will
of
the
flat
fuller
fuller.
be a opening method or?
Yeah, and the only problem is whenever you make it big. Like, see, that's the other difference on these. See, that's got a big. That's a 0.34. Whereas this original one had about 11/32 or 3/16 on there. And this will have the thicker opening. That's about exactly the same size as a Strider. This is smaller.
Yeah, I like that. Me likey. Ooh, yeah. Is that the original for the? No, that's not the Roxy one.
This is the little Halon.
Yeah.
This one's the one that went all the way like right to almost production and then didn't get made.
It's not completely out of the question for anywhere, huh?
No.
It's more of a politics thing than it is anything else at this point.
I think I remember that one. But you know, and this is something I've talked about in so many makers. I like that y'all can look at the Todd knife and tool knives, and you know that it's a Todd knife and tool knife because of the design language. I like to see the design language present in the knives. That's my knife right there. I like that little guy.
We got to find somebody. We got to get that in front of somebody just to make one of them for Nick.
Yeah.
I'll put a new blade in that one and finish it up. Hell, Nick, I'll send it to you like this if you want it. Sure. Problem with it is you see the butcher job I did on the front of that Tonto?
See, I don't see the butcher job. I see a great user, sexy user.
Oh.
And the like 40% lockup on there, that's not good either.
Yeah. But you're just a designer critiquing your work. I think it's beauty.
I think you'd like this one, the Halon.
Yeah, that's why I said I hope it's not completely scrapped from being produced because that one's beautiful too.
Yeah, well, it was.
I don't know if I handled that one or not.
I'm sure you did. Like Seth said, it's kind of a politics thing on that one, so we may do some redesign of something similar and see if that goes a little better.
Well, I definitely hope it doesn't get scrapped.
So, what do you guys think of this roller open thing?
Is that like a front flipper kind of?
More roll.
If the knife was on bearings, it would work as a front flipper, but because it's on phosphor bronze,
so it's just a slow roll.
It just, you press on it and then roll it out. It's hard to do on camera here, but so I honestly prefer this version, just a normal. But everybody, whenever they saw this knife, they were like, does it open on the front? Does it open on the front? So I redesigned it to
Open on the front.
open on the front.
And I like it opening on the front like that. I've heard your arguments both ways, and I kind of look at it like this: anytime you can add just a couple of millimeters of something, and you can give it another opening method, it's kind of like the buskers that Nick has. They've got several different opening methods, and they're more obvious about their front flipper deal. But I sure like the I sure like the roll open, and there's a lot of people that are liking that one. There's one person that, of course, wants the normal version, but everybody else is Chief. We're just not going to talk about the politics there. It's internal knife business stuff. That's
yeah.
Now, see, this one's messed up. You'll notice it looks like it's got about a 40% lockup, but it doesn't. It's about a 20% lockup because I actually accidentally milled out this internal slot there to put your thumb into the front of the lock face.
Oh, oops.
Yeah, it works fine, but not perfect.
Yeah. Well, we're prototyping. We're not, making the final run here. So,
yeah.
It's
Now,
what
do you guys think about this? Because I did that, and it's kind of neat, but I don't know.
Yeah, I like it because it's different.
I like it. Now pull it up closer to the screen. Every time I see a picture of that one, and I saw the drawings, and it wasn't like that, but every time I see a picture of that one, your 3 screws are not in a line.
Yeah, they're not. That
Okay,
wasn't
why?
that wasn't intentional.
Oh, okay, understood.
Yeah,
Because I thought the drawings they were in a straight line.
I didn't know if it was going to work, and you notice how it's not. See, I had that fit in there at one point where that was like, I mean, it was fit, straight up against it. It was perfectly fit in there. But the reality of it is that whenever you push on your lock bar, you move it around too much. So you got to put too much room for clearance in there for it to fit perfectly, or you'll end up catching your lock bar on that thing all the time.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm reading the comments, and they say more ways to open is better. I feel the same exact way as long as the detent is dialed in for it.
Yeah, and I actually like that little hook on the back of it. I like the aesthetics of that.
Well, the D10 on these, that was one of the reasons why this took so long, because I use actually a different detent process for these. Because they're not going to be a flipper, the D10 is loosened up and it's just made a lot more, just kind of pop. I mean, you can pop it real easy. I mean, it ain't going anywhere because you have the friction of the washers that are holding it. So it's not coming out of there. Now, the other thing on this version of this knife, it's a pretty big knife. I think I posted a picture of it. I think this is right at about 4 ounces.
And that is the thing that we have done really, really well on, is the big knives, 4mm blade stock, but still keeping them light.
Yeah, that's the thing of beauty right there for me. I can enjoy them whenever they're big and light.
We do it all for you, Stassa.
I know. I didn't want to tell them that, but
this one's a little bit heavier, but it's full tie, so that makes
it weighs probably about an ounce more with the full tie front or show side on it.
Well, it's interesting. It's full tie. This one's that much lighter. This one's actually also a lot thicker handle stock.
Oh, okay.
This is about 0.152 to start with, and this one is about 0.138, which I prefer the 0.138, but this does fill up your hand a lot better. Yeah,
and sometimes that's good. That's, it's one thing. I know you're not a Hinderer fan, but it's one thing that's always been good about the XM18. It's right at 1/2 inch thick, and it just, the way it's built, it has a better feel in hand than some of the thinner knives. So I put up with it being a little thicker.
Yeah, the XM18 has excellent ergos. I could do without the flipper tab just because that hook kind of catches my hand, but I love the
Yeah,
ergos.
Seth, you're kind of covering part of the lens with your hand there.
Oh,
There
sorry.
you go. Not a problem. But man, those are looking really good. I wish I'd had time to get down there with you to help you work on those because man, I'm we're getting into that place where I don't know, just really good stuff.
I know y'all said that that's just the machine finish on that marble carbon fiber, but anybody else want to let me know that looks sexy as hell. I know. What do y'all think?
Well, I think
I love it.
whenever I talked to you last time, it was a machine finish, but I can tell you this isn't. But what it is it's basically not polished. It's taken at like about a 220 grit, maybe 320 grit, just a light run over. You can still see some of the lines in it if you catch it in the light just right.
Yeah,
But then taken on a not a buffing wheel, but
Scotch Brite.
a buff. No, you destroy this marble carbon fiber
Yeah,
Scotch, right? It just
right.
blow up. But just one of those cloth buffing wheels with white buffing powder,
Yeah,
and then acetoned off.
nice.
Looks good.
It looks really good.
And Rick, we love old Nick Shabazz, and we'll have him on the show, but we don't play by any of his rules, man.
the
Yeah,
the whatever on the ounce and inch of it. That's if it's achieved, great. But it doesn't. It's not no rules set in stone for me.
Yeah, comfort in hand, the way a knife feels in your hand, and several other things are more important than you're setting some metric for it.
Yeah, I got plenty of different things that I look for. In my bigger knives, I kind of like a nice balance feel, just because it keeps the knife feeling light in hand. Um, ergos too. That's the biggest thing, and then trickling on down from there.
Well, guys, I am glad, Seth. I really appreciate you jumping in here and showing off some of our knives. That is really cool, and we appreciate it. And people are asking, how will the public be made aware when your models are available? Damon, watch the Zelrick 42 Instagram, the Todd Knife and Tool Instagram, and of course, Stassa 23's Instagram, because whenever our knives come out to the public, I'm sure that they will be all over those Instagrams.
Yeah, buddy.
And the final blade length, Dylan, you said 4 inches, right, Seth?
For which?
On the root kit?
No.
Root kit.
The root kit's actually not a standard size. Hang on, I'll get something. See if I can do this one-handed.
And Rick, we are trying to do it our way. We are not trying to be anybody else. So we're just under 4 inches. 3 3/4.
I guess it's almost 4 inches. So you're going to get basically 3.5 inches of cutting edge, because that is right at 1 inch. Actually, no, about 3. You're going to get a little bit over 3.5. This one,
I'm about to have to call it a night.
Yeah, we're all gonna have to.
Okay.
And Rick, that's our thing. We want to do stuff our own way, do stuff the way that we want to do it and how we want to do it. And if we're successful, great. If we're not, we did it the way we wanted to, and we'll keep doing it the way we want to. And Seth and Nick, guys, we have had this on for I think getting close to more than 2 hours. So Nick needs to get to bed, and
Yeah,
I've got some things I need to get done here. And there you go. That is the field chopper. That is one of the early ones, guys. We don't have an idea on price points yet, Damon, on any of the knives. So can't really tell you much about that yet, but we will as soon as we can. And Stassa, you got anything you want to close out with?
Just if you just tune into either one of our channels, don't forget to go check out our previous videos on both of our channels, so you can make sure to get in on our 3K giveaway. You're not going to miss it, and we appreciate all y'all support. Y'all are awesome. I'm signing off with that. Later, Seth.
All right, have a good
Later.
night.
See ya.
Seth, you got anything you want to say before you jump off?
Nope. That's it.
All right.
I just want to see what people thought of that over travel stop and then the front rolling thing.
All right. Well, I think it was all taken pretty well. And guys, just like Stassa said, be sure to check out the previous videos on my channel and his channel, because that's where you can enter our Black Friday 3K giveaway. One thing I didn't say that I probably should have in the first video is we'll be announcing the winner on Black Friday. If everything goes right, that's when it'll be announced. The winners for all 6 prize packages. And you guys are awesome. We really appreciate you hanging out with us on these late knife videos.
No doubt.
It is more fun than anything I've done on YouTube to be able to hang out with you guys. And that's it, guys. You guys have a great weekend. Stassa and I may come back sometime over the weekend. We haven't really talked about it yet, but we'll put you a flag out on Instagram if we do. And everyone have a great night, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. See y'all.